Ladies and gentlemen, this video is about vitamin C and its role in viral infections. I consider myself an expert on vitamin C. I've read almost all the literature ever written about it. Some of the books I read twice. The person who recommends it for viruses is a two-time Nobel Prize winning chemist, and you need to ask yourself how many Nobel Peace Prizes, that's a tongue twister, that your doctor has, or anybody in the AMA, or anybody at the CDC, or anybody that's sitting on the board of directors at a pharmaceutical company. Vitamin C has got a lot of bad press. I have to say that most of it was disinformation. Some of that disinformation that was put out in the 80s still gets quoted today. The big knock on vitamin C is that 90% of it comes from a corn source. The processing of vitamin C does remove a lot of the contaminants that you would be concerned about. I've taken a lot of corn processed vitamin C. I still use it today. I make my own liposomal vitamin C using it. I really haven't had a problem with it. I've made nose drops for my children when they were sick as children. I used sodium ascorbate, which used to be hard to find. Now it's propping up again, easier to find. The stuff is really mild. Out of all the granules and all the powders that you can take, the sodium ascorbate is by far the mildest on your stomach. You could take the most granules in that form. And then up the scale of stomach irritation, after that would be probably the buffered with magnesium, potassium, and calcium in it. Then after that is the calcium ascorbate itself. It can be a little harsher on your stomach. And then of course the pure vitamin C crystals that are acidic, those can upset your stomach at a lower dose than any of the other crystals. Vitamin C should be taken with food at all times. The sodium ascorbate, though, you can sometimes get by without taking food with it, but I don't recommend that. The nose drops I made for my children, I could remember hearing, the little the coughing through the middle of the night. I'd get up and squirt that up the kid's nose, and within 5-10 minutes the coughing stopped and the baby would sleep for 4 hours. Now I know some people will say, well, you're crazy, but you're using your kid as a guinea pig, but you're really not. Sodium ascorbate is a benign product and it does wonders. And those people that criticize me were giving their kids over-the-counter cough syrup, and my kid had none of my children ever had to take cough syrup. And vitamin C is so much more effective when you get on your dosing early. If you wait 24 hours after symptoms, you're going to reduce the effectiveness of your vitamin C by at least 50%. Vitamin C does flush out your kidneys about 200 milligrams an hour. So if you take a 5,000 milligram dose, generally in 2 to 3 hours, your blood levels still have vitamin C, but you fall beneath a therapeutic level, which you need to stop viral replication. Vitamin C does not kill viruses. It prevents RNA transcription. The other aspect of vitamin C that is antiviral is the fact that it is a precursor to interferon. And you can't make interferon unless you have vitamin C. So that's very important. The other thing, too, that you need to remember is if you're going to do water-soluble vitamin C, like Emergen-C is rapid release, all the powders are rapid release, you're going to need some 1,000 milligrams. And most 1,000 milligrams are timed release. And you take the timed release at the same time you take the immediate release. And what that does is it levels out your blood levels. It keeps it from dumping so quick and prevents viral reactivation. One of the pitfalls or the hazards of taking large doses of vitamin C, if your stomach can tolerate it, one of the pitfalls is that you can actually put your symptoms to completely non-symptomatic. You still have a virus, it's just inactive. Then the virus comes back and you quickly dose again to make the symptoms go away. You do that over the course of 2 or 3 days, and generally what can happen is you gradually increase your viral load, but you don't let the immune system pick up on the replication enzymes. So then you never replicate your viruses fast enough to stimulate the immune system, and down the road you can end up with a high viral load and your immune system hasn't yet responded. That can put you behind the 8 ball. So you have to really know what you're doing when you're going to do high dose vitamin C. One study revealed that just taking even a subtherapeutic amount of vitamin C can reduce your symptoms by 30 to 50%. And once again, the sooner you get started on that in this process, the better. There's another type of vitamin C. It's called liposomal vitamin C or lipolyzed vitamin C. And basically, you dissolve your vitamin C in water or aloe juice, and because aloe is a great immune stimulant. And you use the water and the aloe juice, dissolve your vitamin C, start adding lecithin, blend it. You add a little grain alcohol as a solvent to emulsify your water soluble and mix it with your fat. You know and I know that fat and water don't mix. So you add a solvent and you blend it for hours. You make liposomal vitamin C. The advantage of lipolyzed or liposomal vitamin C is absorption into the cell. Not so much into the bloodstream, but into the cell, is not dependent upon osmotic pressure and water hydration and things like that. It'll absorb into and across the cell membranes because of the glycerol and the fat liposphere. The liposomal, basically 1,000 milligrams of liposomal is like 3,000 milligrams of regular vitamin C. Liposomal vitamin C stretches out your blood levels so you don't dump it as quickly. And usually, like I say, 1,000 of milligrams of liposomal is equal to 3,000 or 4,000 of the water soluble. Of the liposomal products, I'd stay away from Dr. Mercola. When I broke open his liposomal and tested it, it was granular and gritty. That means it wasn't completely dissolved and it's not completely lipolyzed. And so for the increased price, you want completely lipolyzed. On the other hand, the best liposomal vitamin C on the market, in my opinion, is made by Live On Labs. It's completely lipolyzed, and the first time I took 1,000 milligrams, I gave myself a headache because I detoxed something. And vitamin C is an organic toxin detox, cellular detox. It doesn't detox chemicals. It doesn't detox petroleum byproducts. It doesn't detox that, but it detox cellular toxins, bacterial toxins, viral toxins are what it detoxes. It attaches to them and carries it out. Live On Labs, I had referred so many people to that product and had made them so much money, I decided to call up and see if I can get wholesale pricing. That way that my clients could get the product cheaper, and if they could get it cheaper, then they could take more of it and stay on it longer. Very important for cancer patients. So I went around in circles. They had different phone numbers for different departments in different states. The customer service was weak. One phone line can't answer questions and have to take you and give you a phone. They can't even transfer your call. You have to call a different number, and generally you're leaving messages and hoping people call you back. I finally completed my wholesale form. For some reason they rejected it. So I'm like, okay, I'm making my own. And so that's what I started doing. And so Live On Labs lost out on thousands of dollars over the course of the last 5 years just from my referrals. Things may have changed since then. The price has come down a little bit due to competition. So liposomal, it's not that bad. It's, the price has come up, but competition is driving it down. I definitely like having several different vitamin C products in my cabinet for different things. I actually crush some of the tablets, mix water with it, and people can dab that on their cold sore at night, or when they start getting a cold sore. It can leave like a little white stuff there, which is not very cosmetically appealing, but literally within a couple hours you can shrink an early cold sore back down into nothing without leaving a scar, especially if you take the orals along with it. So vitamin C is very helpful, very useful. It will not kill viruses. Disinformation on the other end. Oh, it's one of the most powerful antibiotics. No, it's not. It will help you with bacterial infections, but it will not kill strep. I had strep throat once and thought it was a virus. I was dosing, taking incredible amounts of vitamin C, making my symptoms go away, and turned out it was strep throat. So yeah, I wasn't never getting rid of it. And I'm glad I finally went to the doctor and got swabbed. And then, of course, one dose of penicillin and I was already better. So people say vitamin C is stronger and better antibiotic than anything else. That is not true. On the other side of the coin, there's disinformation on the other side saying that you just have expensive urine. But listen, when vitamin C is in your bloodstream, it does two things that it's hard to measure in terms of quantity that you put out through the kidney. Number one is it donates hydrogens to dozens and dozens and dozens of chemical reactions in the body. So it's a catalyst. It also, once it donates the hydrogen, then can donate electron towards electron transport, and that helps with energy production. And then as it leaves the kidney, it picks up hydrogen again, which is an acid. So it comes in and goes out in the same form. It looks like you've just ran it through your kidneys, but while it was in your bloodstream, it performed a catalytic function. The other thing that it does, I think I already mentioned, is a precursor to interferon, very antiviral. It helps with the production of white cells. It helps with the production of collagen for wound healing. And again, I'm just going to mention it's an organic detox. So it does not kill viruses. It will not kill the virus, but it is active against the coronavirus. So, and the vitamin C market's wide open. I can't tell you in terms of water soluble and powders which ones makes the best. I was using Bronson Pharmaceuticals for a long time. Then they put out something that it could contain 2% lead or whatever in some of the calcium ascorbates. So I quit using it. I'm not so sure that the other ones don't contain 1%, 2% lead. But I've not seen any issues so far with lead poisoning or lead buildup with anybody. The other downside too is a lot of it comes from China, so you have to read your labels. Sometimes they sweeten the vitamin C with sorbitol. Some people don't like sorbitol. Some of it has sugar. Some people don't like sugar. But it will relieve and reduce your symptoms. Even if you're just taking 3,000 to 4,000 a day in separated doses, you're going to decrease your symptoms. It's hard to quantify, but you will reduce your symptoms. The main danger with protracted and long drawn out viral illness is contracting a secondary bacterial infection. Strep and staph can be dangerous and can be deadly if you're already compromised. And that's what kills a lot of people with the flu, with bronchitis, is they get a secondary bacterial infection and they don't get an antibiotic soon enough. The other stuff that you hear about vitamin C, it'll hurt your kidneys. It won't, especially if you have normal kidney function. It may be attributed to kidney stones if you have some kidney dysfunction, but there should be no problem if you're mixing a little bit of acidic with a little buffered. Should be no problem in your kidneys. Remember to always take it with food and water. The last thing I guess I'll say about vitamin C is that the nose spray is really, really helpful, but it won't kill the virus, and the sodium ascorbate is the only type of vitamin C you can put in your nose, and it's almost like getting an IV, but it's a very short-term pulse dosing, and it enables you to give it to babies. And I'm telling you right now, you got a kid coughing through the night, he's only 6 months old. I'm telling you right now, it's getting the right dose of vitamin C up the nose with the sodium ascorbate spray is almost like a miracle to me, that you can just spray it and the kid stops coughing. There's a few viruses that are stubborn. I don't know what makes them stubborn to vitamin C therapies, but usually those are influenza or swine flu or one of those types of viruses. Once you do get a cold or you have a breakout with this stuff, your main objective is not to spread it. And hand contact, you have to wash your hands hundreds of times a day. Wearing a mask, sick people wearing a mask is actually better than healthy people wearing a mask, because it keeps you from shooting upon sneezing and coughing, shooting stuff out at the speed of sound almost, it seems like. You want to sterilize several things. The one thing I want you to be careful of is cardboard that's put in a grocery store, that's put in the refrigerator. Cardboard is a paper product, has cellulose, and the chill sometimes causes condensation on the milk carton. So if somebody comes along as a loading crates or stocking shelves in the chilled section, orange juice, milk, almond milk, anything that's got cardboard on it can not only harbor the virus but actually allow it to replicate while it's on the milk carton. And then insects like cockroaches can really transfer that virus to other milk cartons. So you want to take in your wipes with you, and you want to wipe any carton that's in the refrigerated section of your grocery store. I'm going to tell you right now, retail's a nightmare. I've said this before in the previous video. Now, other things in the previous video that I told you I was having discomfort with, some of those things have come to light. I'm just amazed. I talked about the incubation 1 to 2 weeks was a little hard to believe. I told you why, and now they're dialing that back. I also told you it was hard to believe that this thing, you could transmit it so easily while it was in a dormancy or incubation stage. Again, they're pulling back on that claim too. They are also confused about getting it through your eyes. I do think you're talking about your tear ducts draining into your nasal cavity. Then your nasal cavity becomes your source of infection. But cordoning off entire cities, I mean, I do not want to be in the city when that happens. And we always thought it was an EMP that was going to cause that. So if you've got to really keep your ears and eyes open. If it looks like if the government's going to seal off your city, you need to get the heck out of Dodge for a while. If you're going up north, which most people do, go to higher country that's rural, and you come to a checkpoint, you try to tell them you own property up north. Having answers ready. Where's your property? And hopefully they'll let you go to your property. So I think that pretty much covers most of it. You can surely ask the manufacturer, call them up, see if it's corn based. You're going to find out most of it is. See if it's made in China. See where it's made, if it's made here. But a lot of it's made overseas, and some people just going to have to get over it. You can take vitamin C with other antivirals. It will not conflict. It will only help. And we're going to cover some other antivirals in about 48 hours. We're going to make videos on that. Right now we're trying to negotiate some stuff with several companies. We're and we're also waiting for some clarifications on the epidemiology and the nature of this virus. As we're already seeing contradictions. So I don't want to jump the gun. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. I don't want to give you wrong information, but when they're shutting down entire cities, something's going on. That's not a 3 to 5% fatality rate. Otherwise, they're just using it as an excuse to control population. So you really want to keep your ears to the ground. You really want to scrutinize, and you've got to understand that this channel is devoted to keeping people healthy and keeping people alive and keeping people from being injured, and once you get this thing, you really have to be careful about spreading it, and you really do. You can't go to work sick, and when you go anywhere, or once you are sick, you should be wearing a mask if you live around other people. I'm very meticulous, and I want to tell you some of the places that harbor these viruses that are very, very contagious, and one of them is landline telephones, even cell phones, but most people have their own cell phone. But landline telephones are extremely contaminated. People talking into the mouthpiece, you can just imagine, okay? Hand contact. So that's one thing. If you're in assisted living, senior living, or if you have elderly with you and somebody gets sick, you want to try to feed them in a different room, but in elderly setting you have to have supervision. You can't just let people choke unobserved on their food. So what you would want to do is have a table that's just for sick people. That way the salt and pepper shaker and the condiments at that table are going to pass it to somebody who's not sick. When you have a sick table in a senior environment, you want to make sure that you bust that table last. You don't want to be handling the silverware, the salt shakers, or the plates. Just leave the stuff there on the table. Take care of everybody else, and then when everybody's out of the room and they're done eating, then it's okay to bust that table. You want to have the person that's serving the table with sick people, you want them to wear gloves, and when they're done serving, take the gloves off and change them. The other thing is hand contact surfaces. I mean, I got a swine flu from somebody working retail food. I went to get a slushy at a place that's famous for blending fruit. and the person in the window looked sick, sounded sick, handed me a giant cup of this slushy. I thought, well, I'll use the straw and I won't get sick, but yet I'm still picking up and handling the cup. And I got the swine flu that year, and was treating it with vitamin C, and it was very difficult to ameliorate. In the very first 24 to 48 hours, I was able to make the symptoms go away, but they always come back when your blood levels fall. Remember, you're not killing the virus, you're deactivating it. And yes, I got the secondary infection, was put on antibiotics immediately. Finally, after 10 days, I was back to work. Never let that happen again. So whether this is hype, whether this is false flag, whatever's going on, we want you to be careful. And until next time, be prepared, not scared.